Hi, friends and friends to be. In the beginning, as you know, we had some questions. We straight up asked the light. And now, in the future, looks like we are going to get some answers. Ask, and you shall receive. We would like to take this moment to thank IVO ASHTAR BENDA universe-people.com for answering our 12 questions. IVO ASHTAR BENDA, the founder of universe-people.com, has dedicated his life to sharing positive extraterrestrial news with the world. His website serves as a hub for information on ET encounters, communication, and interactions. Benda's work is both fascinating and thought-provoking as it challenges traditional beliefs about aliens and their presence in our universe. One of the most intriguing aspects of universe-people.com is the abundance of first-hand accounts of ET encounters. Benda has collected stories from people all over the world who claim to have had contact with extraterrestrial beings. These accounts vary in detail and scope, but they all share a common theme of positivity and peace. Many of these individuals describe feeling a sense of love and connection during their interaction with ETs, leading to a belief in the existence of benevolent extraterrestrial beings. Through his website, Benda also shares information about the technology and advanced knowledge that ETs possess. According to some accounts, these beings are thousands of years ahead of humanity in scientific and technological development. They have the ability to manipulate space and time, travel vast distances in an instant, and communicate telepathically. This information challenges our preconceived notions of what is possible and opens up new possibilities for the future of human civilization. In addition to sharing personal accounts and information about ET technology, Benda also discusses the spiritual implications of contact with extraterrestrial beings. Many individuals who have had encounters with ETs report feeling a profound sense of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. They describe a deep connection to the universe and a renewed sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. Benda believes that contact with ETs can help humanity go beyond its current limitations and reach a higher state of consciousness. One of the most compelling aspects of universe-people.com is the emphasis on positive and peaceful interactions with ETs. Benda's work challenges the popular media portrayal of aliens as hostile invaders or malevolent beings. Instead, he promotes a message of unity, love, and understanding between humanity and extraterrestrial civilizations. This perspective offers a refreshing alternative. Here is our interview. What inspired you to create universe-people.com, heavenly-angels.org, and how has your experience shaped your spiritual teachings?
Since childhood, I have noticed many different problems of people in this world, from bad relationships between people to wars. Because my dad worked for 10 years from the 1960s to 1980s in 17 countries, Sigma pump designer and technician, in Latin America and the Middle East, I had accurate and truthful information from a very young age about how people live not only here in Czechoslovakia, but also in the world. He was telling us stories and projecting thousands of slides on the wall. It was like from other planets. From the age of 4 we had a globe and I was exploring this diverse world, and from the age of 6 I was already familiar with the celestial mechanics of the planets, how they revolve around each other, including the phases of the moon. In my childhood, I inside saw a beautiful face close up with beautiful blue eyes, blonde long hair, always looking directly at me. I believed that she was a woman and I felt a lot of love from her, and I knew that she knew everything about me, that she would not harm me in any way and that she protected me mightily. I knew he could see right into me. It was only in 1997 that I learned that he is Ashta Sharon, my spiritual, inner guardian and a beautiful being of the outer heaven,
commander of the Great Space Fleet,
and the guardian of Earth. www.ashta-sharon.org. My childhood was rich in experiences for many reasons. It was a very cultural city in Moravia. It was both loving parents who secured and guided us. It was the garden we had and we could get to know nature up close. It was traveling by car around the region. It was music. I played harmonica and singing and performed publicly. www.playlist-music.org, and it was an inner spiritual heart connection with my brother. It was peace we lived in, no fear and frequent joys. Nature tourism, swimming, cycling and other sports. And it was health. I gradually realized what a strange world I live in, and all the other people of the world have no idea about themselves. They are self-centered, isolated and separated into their bubbles, into their closed lives. I started to see this as one of the main problems. When I was growing up in grammar school, I was introduced privately to quantum mechanics, and that's how I discovered that the world is made of energy vibrations and thus there could be other interconnecting worlds in the same location X, Y, Z, Fig. 1245 www.heavenly-angels.org. This was an important discovery for me. For the previous reasons, I was searching for some other civilizations or nations that live on other planets. I saw from a young age that the space is huge, and it cannot be without life. See, for example, the film Contact, 1997, USA, Our Home, Nosso Lar, 2010, Brazil, Fig. 4653-4661 on www.ndil-nebe.cz, original, www.heavenly-angels.org, www.himmelzengel.de. And that's what was strange to me, that I did not find these civilizations and peoples from other worlds. It gradually dawned on me that someone is artificially isolating us from many other civilizations and nations in the universe. Even in our country under socialism, until 1990, books about contacts with these civilizations from elsewhere were not available at all. I searched the libraries. The only thing from the 1960s to the 1990s were science fiction books from the Soviet Union. That was insufficient. When did I learn that there are other forms of life outside our planet? So the first time it was after the revolution, I think, if I don't count science fiction, that is, they were from the Soviet Union, so it was like a bit of preparation, yes, even though they are simply not proof things, but testimony of people, yes, when different people from different countries testify, without organization, without rewards, money and so on, yes. That is the English Testament, and that is considered something that has a high degree of probability, truth, and simply it should just be taken seriously, yes, that it's not just some talk. You know, from different countries and a number of people, and who did not arrange with each other beforehand to say the same statements and have their own experiences in life. So it was the book UFO Contacts the first one. IMG 11360CZ, 11359DE, 11158, 11475 to 11489, 11492 to 11496 in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. This book brought me to the knowledge, and I searched. Yes, I already searched during socialism. I found nothing during socialism, e.g. books, images 11,343 to 11,390 in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. For example, the Brno Library, yes, absolutely nothing, simply, but after 1990 I say it was already allowed to translate those books. Yes, it was allowed, someone allowed it, interesting, so they were translated and they were simply in Czech. Yes, Mr. Heisman was German, he had other books, but this one caught my attention. UFO, contacts, I consider it very, very valuable, very precious. Image 11360CZ, 11359DE in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. Well, I found out a lot of things in that book, but I didn't figure out how to cooperate with them. I didn't find out, it does not matter, so I thought, I'm going to look for someone who connects with them, internally and actually works with them, and that took 5 years, yeah, so in 97 and that's interesting, we're filming here at the Andal, the Angel, EN language, station, in Smychov, Prague, the subway, and that's really interesting, because it was right here in the Metal Industry Palace. How about a few streets next door, where Mr. Heisman had every year on the basis of an organization from UFO Magazine 2000, an invitation to such a 5-hour talk by him, and it always came together, and no one else did it, only him after 1990, and 1,000 people from all over Czechoslovakia always came together. I repeat, no one, he didn't mention it anywhere before he spoke here, so there he is, yes, it was in 1996, in the fall, and there I actually listened to him for 5 hours plus on a big screen, and 1,000 people, Czechs and Slovaks, on the big screen. That proof, there are aliens, yes, but the problem was, and I already knew from that book, that he was only proving the evil aliens from the dark worlds. The positive ones, the good ones that were just contacted by those people from that book UFO, contacts, he didn't present them there at all. So I was like, so there will be something, 5 hours imagine, and videos, photos, and he says, and this is the evidence, and here you have it, they exist, you understand, but that's kind of manipulation because, you see, you're presenting only one group, as if you're presenting only America and no other nation, something like that, and no other nations and states exist. So, there was already an answer that yes, it is actually here, we are somehow manipulated, controlled, lied to, while he knew about them well. After all, he wrote the book, but he simply didn't say anything about it there. Well, then it ended, and that was a great experience, and I say, it was next to here, a little bit, and just a little bit like that, in the hall, right? People were going to the hall, there are these big orange columns, there they were, in the hall, and there was an inconspicuous lady older than me standing by that one big pillar. I was 36 years old and she was, yes, about 10 years older. And she was just saying something, and there was a small group of people near her, 10 people, yes, like a semicircle, a crowd. I think to myself, I'll look over there, everyone was leaving, someone is saying something, and now I look, I'm listening, and they're talking about it, simply, PTAH, ASHTA, yes, what are they doing here? They help us in everyday life, to pick. 11117, 11114, 11115, 11214, 11168, 11135, 11186 in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. Just said, yeah, a very ordinary lady, no education, no nothing, just such a village woman, normal, just natural, and she was giving these people the information, and she was reading it here and there from these pieces of paper where she had a message written, and here and there she gave the paper to someone when they wanted it, and I thought, so she could be the lady who communicates with them and knows how to do it. Message 1603, leaflet 140 to 142 at www.ndil-nebe.cz, www.heavenly-angels.org, and image 11100 in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. I repeat, I did not find anywhere how it could be done. I did not know about it at all. And those are our schools and libraries and everything. So, I learned that simply through the spiritual heart. That's what we have here in the chest. It appears as an inner voice, inaudible to the ears, but internal, you know, as in the spirit, as intuition, as in the spirit. Well, normally people actually know it, but they say to themselves, this is what I tell myself. And the bottom line is that he doesn't often tell himself that, but they often tell him that it's them. That's the point. And it's here, like in this place inside the chest in front of the spine, there is the spot where it's like coming from. It doesn't come directly to the brain, but there. That communication, it's specifically the fourth heart chakra. The fourth is just like the first, second, third, fourth. Here's the fifth, sixth, seventh, and then there are others. Pick 692, 688, 2121, 1753, 1674 at www.ndil-nebe.cz, www.heavenly-angels.org. Yes, the fourth chakra is the spiritual heart, another name, simply. This is an energy channel. It is simply a channel to other dimensions. They are of course in other dimensions. I learned about this from the woman and learned how it is recognized, how one feels it, that as I feel it as an inner such voice simply normally in the spirit, as in the spirit it is said, or how do you say it? Something inner, yes, just an inner voice, it's definitely not through audible ears. Well, it was already, it wasn't written there, the instructions, it was already, I already learned about it, then of course he learned from her the conditions, just like, it's about the level of the quality of the communication, it's a rate, it's not black and white, but it's a measure, so how to improve it to make it better and better, yeah, the communication. So there I got the 10 conditions of connection, conditions for contact with cosmic friends of forces of light and with our Creator, message 1603, leaflet 140 to 142 at www.ndil-nebe.cz, www.heavenly-angels.org, and pick 11100 in the zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. I have them written there, at the very beginning. That's what's important, as a recommendation, nothing else, and one of those conditions is of course, living a good positive loving life, that is not a bad life, the life of a murderer, a thief, a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, someone who robs and enslaves others, so on, so it doesn't work, simply, that it doesn't work, so that's like a basis. Then there are other points that simply, I don't know, not eating meat, yeah, or limiting, at least, meat, because there it's actually the frequency of energy, vibration, the frequency of that communication and the frequency of our bodies, so that the frequencies fit together, tune in, just like you have different voltages, different frequencies on your computer, just like that. So, there are things that people, and this is just important, what hasn't been taught in regular schools, but it's starting to get, which is what things lower our vibration, what things, and what things on the otherwise can raise our vibration, so yeah is the key. I still meet, still work with the space friends from heaven for 26 years, which will be from July 22, 1997, yes, and I haven't stopped. It's internal communication, it's actually different questions, answers, always to different things, yeah, then it's actually, the result is leading, which is what I call leading, that they lead me, and I want them to lead me because I trust them, and I know they won't do me any harm, and that they're actually their visits. Visits are both in the mental body and with the physical body, pic. 4508, 1970 at www.ndil-nebe.cz, www.heavenly-angels.org. In the mental body, one does not remember much, because it remains inside, as in the subconscious, and with the physical body, one can remember something there, some part simply, yes? Pic. 11134, 11182, 11458 to 11474 in zip, www.heavenly-angels.org. If I remembered everything, it wouldn't be quite the same either, because basically there are such beautiful societies that if I were to compare it, the maximum awareness there and here, then a person doesn't want to live here anymore. He just would like to stay there and he would already have a problem living and existing here. You understand me, the contrast, the difference of those beautiful relationships. What are there and what kind of relationships are actually here? Pic. 11143 in the zip, www.universe-people.org.
Could you elaborate on the concept of cosmic consciousness and its significance in understanding the universe's mysteries?
I see cosmic consciousness as the inner consciousness that is connected with this outer physical body and its physical consciousness. Therefore, cosmic consciousness is the consciousness of the spirit that is in the inner level of creation. I perceive this consciousness in a positive state, which is an important concept that is extensively explained in the New Revelation books in the Light Library at www.heavenly-angels.org, www.ndil-nebe.cz, but also in other books of this website, including the books of Emanuel Swedenborg. With cosmic consciousness, one can correctly understand the problems of humanity and human life separately and can provide their correct solutions.
How do you see the role of love and compassion in spiritual evolution? And how can individuals cultivate these qualities in their lives?
The role of love and compassion in human life is truly key. This is the way to deliverance from the trap of negative state, and this is where a person should walk if he wants to save his life, if he wants to live fully, happily, and internally richly. Love and compassion can be manifested in all aspects of human life if one discovers, grasps, develops, and if it becomes a quality of life. Everything that a person experiences develops from this attribute. It has a decisive influence on a person's health, and it is a universally widespread characteristic of life spread everywhere in the heavenly world's civilizations. Love and compassion manifests itself in all manifestations of everyday human life to the extent that a person receives these subtle vibrational energies from the prime creator of everything and everyone, and how he works with them in solving life situations, even challenging ones. Again, you can practically find it in the books in the Light Library at www.heavenly-angels.org, www.ndil-nebe.cz, original, www.himmels-angle.de.
What are some of the practical ways for individuals to align their energies with the cosmic forces for personal growth and evolution?
In every civilization, in every nation on the different planets of creation, there are problems of varying degrees that need to be solved. Our planet Earth, as we know it here, serves as a primary kindergarten and school of life for creation, where people absorbed in a negative state learn to live their lives through constant feedback. These are also relationships in the immediate and wider environment, relationships between people, people to nature, all living things, up to the planet Earth, which is the living mother. I emphasize that it is only a primary school of life, where classes, learning, lessons and exams are similar to life, where no copies are possible. It is also briefly but accurately described in the Spiritual Path material, pictures 688, 692 and messages 819 to 847 in Book 3. Talks with teachings from my cosmic friends, www.heavenly-angels.org, www.andil-nebe.cz, original, www.himmels-angle.de.
In your view, what is the ultimate goal of spiritual enlightenment, and how does it relate to our existence in the universe?
In my opinion, the ultimate goal of spiritual enlightenment is the full development of human consciousness, that is, the full use of love, truth, goodness, wisdom and intelligence in a person's daily life, and this has a fundamental effect on the quality, richness of life and health of a person, on his harmonious and wise approach to problems, to work as such and certainly to personal relationships with close and distant people. It is a full-time selfless work for the prime creator of everything and everyone, i.e. he does not go to another job. But he can adapt his home to his needs with his own powers, not the energies of other people. So he can also handle some crafts for the home, as Jesus Christ was able to do. Enlightened people never let other people do things for them. The overwhelming majority live materially modestly with the necessary life security and do not accumulate money and possessions. A typical example is Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. Let's ask ourselves the question, how would he live among people today? What would he do and how would he handle life situations? In the outer heaven, the Pleiadians, who lived for about 1,000 years, are children until 200 years old, when they are taught individually by instructors and do not yet work fully and independently for the prime creator of everything and everyone. It is only after reaching this age of 200 years that they first ceremonially board their spaceships at the airport and for the first time work independently and with full responsibility for the prime creator of everything and everyone. See cover of 2 volumes of E.S. Books Mundos Superados, Surpassed Worlds, by Araceli Egia, 2005, image 9677 and warning to people at www.heavenly-angels.org.
How do ancient wisdom traditions influence the spiritual teachings and practices shared on universe-people.com?
The extensive spiritual teaching on my websites www.universe-people.com, www.heavenly-university.org, www.andil-nebe.cz, www.himmels-angle.de, www.angelus-luz.es, www.angeli-svita.ru, www.angies-lumiere.fr, www.angelo-luz.it, www.anieli-neba.pl, www.angeeli-neba.com.hr, www.anjos-ceu.eu, www.angeli-raja.eu, www.engelin-hemel.nl, www.ingarai-serului.ro, www.senenitan-melekalery.web.tr, www.himmelens-angloar.se, has been given to us on earth in many books and communications by the angels of outer heaven, and this information is very, very, very old indeed. According to the laws of life, all the inhabitants of heaven live, and everyone knows that if they violate them, they can fall into the displacement zone, which is also this black universe in which we now live. Every person also has the laws of life written in their spiritual heart, and this is an important message to all people of planet Earth. Then, of course, it depends on whether this spiritual heart, the fourth heart chakra, is open or closed, which is the case for the vast majority of people. That's why some of us were born here to help many people open their spiritual hearts in a completely natural and non-violent way, influence in life manifestations, irradiation, and spiritual teaching. It is actually heartness, sincereness, and openness that one can manifest their open spiritual heart, this important channel of information of truth, love, goodness, wisdom, and intelligence emanating from the prime creator of everything and everyone. And that in everyday life, in your work, relationships, hobbies, getting to know, learning, relaxing, and while discovering new horizons of the qualities of life that lie ahead, just choose to use them.
Can you share a key teaching or principle from your platform that has resonated deeply with your audience, and why?
One of the greatest discoveries of mankind in the 20th century is the knowledge of two important aspects of their life. 1. The discovery of alien civilizations and nations, advanced nations from the heavens and undeveloped entities from the darkness. Many of these beings will struggle over Earth humanity among themselves. It is a battle of the forces of light and the forces of darkness. The forces of light set the boundaries of what the forces of dark can afford, and what they cannot. The forces of light are guarding the developing undeveloped worlds and nations and providing continuous assistance to them so each of them can one time return home to heaven where they belong and have always belonged. 2. The discovery of the real internal state and external position of Earth mankind, of his negative state. This discovery is even more serious than the previous one because it essentially concerns each of the 8 billion people on planet Earth. It is about the negative state, which human souls, in their underdevelopment and ignorance, have mostly chosen in many previous incarnations. The negative state is a state of control of a being by the forces of darkness, in a way that he mostly has no idea about it. In the negative state, the being has inverted spiritual principles, i.e., instead of love, goodness, truth, wisdom, and intelligence, it has dislove, evil, lies, and foolishness, which pseudo-lives remotely secured by significant control of dark powers and especially pseudo-creators. B. All human problems affecting this Earth humanity correspond to this negative state. From the smallest, to the threat of war, atomic self-destruction. Space people, angels of the outer heaven, constantly warn humanity about this. The interested person can see it not only from the 1,000-year-old apparitions, then the recent one, especially the third apparition at Fatima, but also in dozens of books in the Light Library or warning to people at www.heavenly-angels.org. They're also inside Heavenly University covers of other books, see, Encapsulation of the Spirit and Soul of Man Due to Their Negative State, Auber. 793 at www.heavenly-angels.org. D. In the case of earthly humanity and planet Earth, it is remote control of energies, spatial signs, broadcasted from antennas below the surface of the hollow moon, which was brought in and engineered by the dark forces for this purpose. The surface is just a camouflage of this reality. This has been known for hundreds of thousands of years by the natural peoples, e.g. the Zulu. The moon is a blown egg brought in by dragons to control humanity, who were constantly told by the angels of heaven so that these peoples would know what their situation was and to solve it. Ideological and technological war of 4 groups of pseudo-creators for the human soul. 4 groups of pseudo-creators today are competing and fighting between themselves to control humanity. It is 98% of humanity, Today it is a matter of moving other auxiliary control technologies to the planet Earth itself, so that people can control themselves up to 99.99%, to almost complete slave bio-robots. The angels of heaven could easily technically remove this moon, but since it was people's free will to choose a negative state, the angels of heaven do not interfere with that free choice. People have let themselves be robbed by the forces of darkness, of the ability to distinguish in good and evil, and that either in this life of theirs or mostly already in their previous lives. The problem and the main characteristic of people is that they always look for the culprit of their problems outside themselves, therefore they cannot progress properly in their development. They are a show for anyone living in heaven how not to live life. The people of planet Earth thus created the DU-80 spiritual battlefield, the world for 300,000 years formed by a completely balanced spiritual battle between the forces of light and the forces of darkness, in which 98% of people today are remotely controlled by entities from the dark worlds, and they live an illusory, dead life with their own experiences.
How do you navigate the balance between individual spiritual exploration and collective consciousness in your teachings?
I have one foot on the earth and the other foot in heaven. Yes, that is an apt description of how every enlightened person, including Jesus Christ, must have lived on this planet Earth. We also have it in the emerald plates, incarnations down and up and more. That is, from heaven to earth and from earth back to heaven. Always after completing your mission to help people, this balance is also helped by the sign I was born in, Libra. The balance of perception of this basic school of life on earth is the key to the correct understanding and action of helping people. This must be balanced, non-violent, gentle and permanent. This is a requirement that I constantly perceive. This balance also includes the law of accommodation, the law of adaptation, which is a condition for mastering the light mission. This is done in two basic ways in preparation. Preparation through previous incarnations in the given environment of planet Earth. Experiences are also transmitted in the form of a record by multidimensional beings who have recently or previously lived here on planet Earth. So it may appear to someone that he lived here, but he didn't necessarily have to live here. Preparation with virtual reality training on the Share Space Station before the birth of this life. Training with trainers is carried out for several years, up to 400 years, depending on the severity of the mission. Interested parties can find more information in the book The New Revelation of the Lord Jesus Christ, and it is also briefly discussed in the book Bringers of the Dawn, all in the Light Library at www.cosmic-people.com.
What role do rituals and sacred practices play in connecting individuals with the universe's divine energies? And do you have any recommendations for incorporating them into daily life?
Rituals have the external role of an internal process, for example, meditation. We held a symposium on love at Prague Castle 4 times with interested parties in 2000, 2003. The only ritual was the creation of a meditation circle in the first courtyard of Prague Castle, from where we sent streams of love to people. External rituals are meant to serve internal action, i.e., they should not be empty without internal content, and that is the most important, of course. Those people who persist in external rituals without internal content are certainly in a negative state.
How do you address the concept of duality and unity within the context of spiritual growth and cosmic harmony?
It is necessary to be constantly aware that human is part of one whole. If he is aware of this, then he cannot isolate himself in the positions of benefits and parasitization at the expense of others. The ideal is awareness that I am one of the many bright asterisks in the night sky. By doing so, One cannot be overcome by self-centery, the basic attribute of the negative state. People who succumb to a negative state in this way succumb to the forces of darkness and suffer a fall of varying degrees. Such a person can be seen, for example, in the character of a spiritual churchman in the Indian film PK, 2014. It includes solving personal needs with your own strengths and not abusing other people.
What are your thoughts on the current state of humanity's spiritual evolution? And how can we collectively elevate our consciousness for a better future?
Each person individually is responsible for raising their spiritual state, the spiritual state of humanity, and thereby raising their surroundings. No one can target and rely on some select individuals. It is necessary to educate responsibly and effectively, i.e., not to devote your time and energy to fraudulent resources, of which there are most approximately 90%. There are only about 10% of genuine sources, and that should be kept in mind. The big mistake people make is that I follow the herd effect in on the networks, for example, viewership numbers, which tend to be manipulated. I've found that out for sure. The raising of the spiritual level happens subtly and in the masses of people unconsciously or consciously by influence and irradiation by positive people. It includes activities in the transmission of true light information in any field so that people do not fall under the mass control programs of the forces of darkness, which are spread here by pseudo-creators and on Earth, by corporate people through universities, experts, media, and schools. One of the effective methods is providing and passing on to people also this spiritual teaching from heaven. www.universe-people.com, www.heavenly-university.org, which today belongs to the top on this planet Earth in terms of quality and scope.
How do you envision the impact of universe-people.com's teachings on shaping a more enlightened and interconnected world?
The impact of the spiritual teaching of universe-people.com, thesmyrnalite.cz, is obvious and far-reaching. There is not a single university in the world from which students and teachers would not study these resources. I have a lot of information about it. Many already teach this light information in their schools. For example, there have been departments on extraterrestrials in Turkey for over 15 years. It is the spiritual teaching of universe-people.com, thesmyrnalite.cz. His education by many people all over the world causes a rise of consciousness and destroys old paradigms. It is becoming increasingly difficult for the forces of darkness to assert delusions and lies about humanity and, for example, in India they have already asserted the opposite history of origin of humanity, not from a monkey, Darwin, but the real one, falling from heaven, in teaching in schools. These are important advances and changes for the better, because this will make people better able to solve their problems today, of which there are a huge number. Spiritual teaching of universe-people.com, thesmyrnalite.cz is the right food for sick humanity. They use it in all 250 countries of the world and also in all their regions. I compiled statistics for 4 years in 2009 to 2012 using OSTATS.
Thank you for your time